So we've arrived at Christmas at last, and we've nearly come to the point when all the shopping is over, and perhaps we've come and have the opportunity now to stop and think about the real meaning of Christmas. One of the things that we enjoy doing in our home, if we have the time, is to watch a good film. Perhaps some of you remember the Hollywood blockbuster Home Alone. In the original film, we have the story of a family who go on holiday and leave a child behind. It's unthinkable that anyone should forget a child and go on holiday, though it does happen deliberately in our hard-bitten, selfish world. That film serves to remind us that it's just as foolish for us to forget the child at the centre of Christmas in the midst of all our celebrations. Because of the great anticipation of the holiday season, it's possible to be so absorbed that we forget the essential character of Christmas. Christmas is a busy time, a time of preparation, but it's a time when we recognise God's way of coming into this world, coming not with towering intellect to dazzle us, nor as a suave politician or a statesman to impress us, but coming as a baby, helpless, dependent, warm and inviting, yet in a way that everyone can understand. Let's not forget the baby who makes sense of everything. What does this mean for us? It means we must think small. It goes against the grain for many people to think small when everything is bigger and better in our minds. But some of the most wonderful things come in small packages. And nowhere is this more true than in the helpless child of Bethlehem. Christmas means that God has come into our commonplace world. God has somehow invaded the ordinary with his presence. In a cobweb cage and a cow's stall, he's entered this world. Perhaps this is best expressed by the Apostle Paul, who wrote, "But made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made human." It means God has stooped to save us. God has taken upon himself our humanity. The great God who spoke the universe into existence, the great mind behind everything that is, who gave us beauty and the wonder of the world, has chosen to come into this world, to live alongside us, to lift us into the presence of God in a new and wonderful way. He stooped and came into the world as a helpless and vulnerable child. St. John of Damascus asked the question, for what greater thing is there that God should become man? Graham Kendrick put it so well, wisdom unsearchable, God the invisible, love indestructible in frailty appears. Of all the privileges I have as a Christian minister, one of the most precious is to hold a newborn child. To be entrusted with that special part of people's lives is breathtaking. The world has been given the privilege of holding and bearing the gift of grace in Jesus Christ. It means God has spoken for all time. The word which God speaks in Jesus is not just in Bethlehem at one fixed moment of time, but it's a word for all the world and for all time. The word that God has spoken shows us that the trouble that God has gone to in order to make the way clear for our salvation. Put simply, it means that you are somebody. You matter. You count. You have enormous worth because the Lord of glory loves you so much. Christmas speaks of the limitless love of God, which can reach further than we could ever imagine. As you pull back the curtain in your search for the real meaning of Christmas, I hope you've enjoyed our show, but more than that, I trust you've caught something of the real and enduring truth of Christmas, and that is God's gift. Alongside City Road Chapel in London, made forever memorable by the preaching of John Wesley, after whom our mission is named, there is the manse, and a room where, on a March day in 1791, Wesley died. Some time before his death, he was trying to speak some words to the family and the friends who gathered. As is often the case, there were moments of silence. And then, gathering all his strength, he uttered the final words, the best of all, God is with us. God is with us. And that's the real meaning of Christmas.